One question can bring you back to what matters, to the truth you've been avoiding, to the moment your body knew something that your mind wasn't ready to admit. Today's question is, what are you ready to forgive yourself for? Maybe it's the job you stayed in too long, the one you left too soon, the way you handled a friendship falling apart, the words you said in anger, or the ones you swallowed when you knew you should have spoken up. Most of us have these little knots we carry around in our bodies, tightly wound moments of regret, self-judgment, or shame. And often, we're the only ones still carrying them. There's no one left thinking about that awkward thing you said in a meeting 2 years ago. No one is rehashing the breakup, or the bad decision, or that time you messed up at work, except you. And maybe it's time to let it go. But why is it so hard? There's some fascinating neuroscience behind this. The prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for rumination and self-reflection, can loop mistakes endlessly, especially when the limbic system, which processes emotion, flags the event as unresolved. It's like your brain puts the memory in an open loops folder and never lets you close the tab. What's more is the research shows that self-forgiveness improves mental health, reduces anxiety and depression, and even improves cardiovascular function. In other words, your body wants to let it go. It just doesn't always know how. And then there's what culture teaches us. Women, in particular, are socialized to over-apologize, over-analyze, and over-own responsibility. We're taught that being good means being self-aware to the point of self-erasure. To take the blame, even when it's not ours to hold, and to fix things that were never our fault. Meanwhile, many men are conditioned to show no remorse, none at all, not because they don't feel it, but because they're taught to bury it, to man up, to move on, to compartmentalize, which creates its own quiet kind of suffering. So we end up with a world full of people carrying things they don't talk about, or punishing themselves for things they've already atoned for, walking around like ghosts, haunted by our own past selves. Let me tell you a little story. Years ago, I ended a friendship abruptly. We were both hurting, and I couldn't hold her pain and mine at the same time. So I shut the door, no goodbye, no closure, just silence. And for years, every time I thought of her, I winced. Not because I didn't think the ending was necessary, but because I didn't like how I handled it. I would lie awake, rewriting the conversation, rehashing it, telling myself I should have been better, I should have been more graceful, I should have been more kind. Eventually, I did try to reach out, and she didn't respond. And that's when I realized that the only person still holding that story was me. She had likely moved on years ago. So I sat down one evening, lit a candle, and wrote a letter. Not one to send, just to say what needed saying. I forgave the version of me who didn't know how to handle grief and loss at the same time. I let her off the hook, and I let me off the hook. So here's the real question. What are you still punishing yourself for that's already over? And to be clear, this is not about excusing harm. I don't do that. This is not a permission slip for those who have done damage, caused violence, or avoided accountability. This is not about sidestepping justice. But if you have taken responsibility, if you've apologized, made amends, or grown through the pain, if there is no one to apologize to because the shame lives only in your chest, then maybe it's time to stop bleeding for a wound that has already scarred over. Here's something simple to try. Close your eyes. Place a hand on your heart or your belly, wherever that regret lives in your body. Take a slow, deep breath and whisper, I am allowed to be human. I'm allowed to grow, and that chapter is over now. You may need to say this more than once. You may need to say it every day for a while, but your nervous system listens when you speak to it kindly. It softens, it releases, It'll let the loop go. And here's something I want you to know, just in case no one's told you lately. You don't have to keep paying for something you've already made peace with. You're not meant to live in permanent posture of penance. You're allowed to forgive the former version of yourself who didn't have the tools that you have now. You're allowed to grow and move forward and laugh again. Because your regret doesn't make you good. Your guilt doesn't make you holy. And your punishment isn't proof of your worth. Your healing is. So here's the question one more time. What are you ready to forgive yourself for? Name it gently. Claim it without shame. And then when you're ready, let it go. Thank you for joining me for One Question. If this episode stirred something in you, stay with it. Let the question do its work. And if you're ready, maybe ask it to someone else. I'll be back next week with another question. Until then, be kind to yourself. You're doing the best you can. And always ask better questions.